So make sure we're on the air here. Yeah, there we go. So if anyone noticed, if they came to our channel um, before we went on the air, I have new channel art. Pretty proud of that. I made it on Canva, and it's got fonts and pictures and pretty colors, and yeah,
I didn't see it.
yeah. Check it out. Check it out after we go off the air later on. It's got like a little landing page type of thing that's kind of hidden a little bit by the preview, like the clips of the previous episodes.
Oh, yeah, I saw the preview. Like that's where it was.
Yeah, it's like it's hidden behind that, but if you're on, yeah, Eric.dev, Eric says, "Do you mean the offline image?" Yeah, it's like I actually kind of got the idea, Eric, from yours, and I copied some of the wording as well. So sorry. Um, but yeah, like I have the offline image up, and then there's also like the profile page image as well. So that pops up in certain cases too, I guess. Um, and I got some YouTube cover image too. I went crazy with Canva this morning. So yeah. Um, yeah, so actually, I just saw a question in the chat right off the bat. So Eric.dev and AQ A Kilby, A Colby. I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it. Um, but A Colby says, I saw a previous video where you were doing Go learning exercises. What do you think of Go as a first serious language learning effort? Thus far, my intro has been Ruby by way of Chef. Oh, Colby. Okay. So, Jennifer, this question is right up your alley, I think. So take it away. I think you have a really good answer here. So go for it.
Yeah, so I'm learning Go. Like I have been learning Go for a few years now. Because I do Ruby. I was doing Ruby by way of Chef, by working at Chef. Um a few years ago. And then I am tackling Go now for reals with Aaron's help because he's been doing Go for a while. I think depending on if Ruby is your only experience of a language, it might be a little challenging. The ramp up is uh, interesting, and I think that's been one of my challenges. It's been familiar enough because I've done C in the past, because like that was like early computer science classes totally
Hmm.
used it. And to confess, I really did see mostly through mud programming once upon a time.
What is mud programming? I've never heard of that.
Multi-user dungeons.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
Nice.
I think the language is in general, for me, if I pick up the syntax and then it's just figuring out all the like little gotchas around how do people really use the language, and that's kind of what Aaron is like helping me discover. So I would say it's definitely a serious language and definitely a bit challenging.
I love Go. That's all I have to add. If you are up for learning a lower level language, yeah, like as opposed to like a scripting language, I would totally try it out. Um, in the chat, Eric has some more stuff to add, which I think is this is really good stuff. Eric says, I used to think Go wasn't as suited to beginners, but then I tried to help people with languages I thought were more targeted toward beginners and realized there's just a lot to learn about all of the tooling and ecosystems around programming. Um, and then it brings up dependency management, Git, programming patterns, etc. Yeah, I mean, Jennifer, that kind of goes to what you were just saying about how people really write Go. Um, there's like so much more too, like how people really write stuff, like write programs in general on computers, and that like the dependency management, Git, that kind of stuff, just that's the stuff. That's the bread and butter for me that I have to relearn in the context of any new language. Um, yeah.
So here's the thing that I think about in terms of I'm seeing all of what Eric's saying. There is a difference between beginner and beginner in a language, and you want to use it in work or contribute to an open source project, right? So there's I think the on ramp and tutorials that are available for Go, they basically go, here's the syntax,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's not as helpful. If you
Unless you get a like a book, I would say.
uh, no, because like this is the problem because books are a point in time unless you
That's
get a
true.
mentor, right?
That's true. A book
Specifically
is, yeah.
who's experienced and doing the kind of programming that you want to do, right? With Ruby, and the other thing, I've had some discussions with people. Different people find different languages easier to use. For me, learning Ruby just felt like it was learning a language. Like I used to be learning a language, learning to speak. Like
Hmm.
here's your nouns, your subjects, your verbs. Like here's how it works. Python has also been challenging for me, and I've had great discussions with some friends from coffee ops about like, oh well, this is the reason I find Ruby easy to learn and
Hmm.
this Python hard, and it's been fascinating, like where the divide is, and sort of like some people find Ruby. If you find Ruby more intuitive than Python, I feel like there might be a path of learning.
Yeah. Yeah. The intuitive factor is huge. Um, yeah.
I don't think it's intuitive, right? I think it's
Oh,
just how, like, think about speaking a particular language.
I
What
think.
comes next?
Yeah. Well, for me, there is an intuitive factor, even in learning a new spoken language, actually, um, where you have to learn a lot of things no matter what. If you're going from Go to Ruby or vice versa, or you're going from English to Japanese, right? But
Oh, I don't
after
mean
you,
you. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
yeah, go for it. It's okay.
I mean not intuitive at all. I mean that there's no language that is intuitive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like it's not one
Totally.
language over another,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally
Yeah,
agree.
sorry.
No, that's a, I mean, of course, yeah. Like an intuitive language would be amazing because then there would be a lot less to learn. That'd be great. Um,
Well,
yeah.
that's one of the things. Like people will say, "Oh, this language is so easy to learn; it's intuitive," and I'm like,
Yeah. After you learned it.
"Yeah, yes, you who are writing the language and know exactly what you
Yeah.
meant."
Yeah. For
Um,
me, English is really intuitive. It's like so
doesn't
easy.
make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh yeah, Colby, I am in Portland and my name is Aaron. Today it's even sunny in Portland, which is just blows my mind. All right. Should we get started on Dapper?
Let's get started.
All right.
This is I love talking about languages too.
Yeah, me too.
I
Mondays.
really want to know how this works.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if anyone hasn't been here before, I'll do my little very short description of what this is. So we call this so far the best name we have so far is CNW for Cloud Native Wednesdays. So this is starting at 1:30 p.m.
Seeing you Wednesdays.
Oh, that's right. Seeing you Wednesdays. So like seeing you Wednesdays or Cloud Native Wednesdays if you want to say what it actually is, the subject matter is.
Exactly.
So so yeah, this is Seeing You Wednesdays, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. Um, we go over a cloud native technology or topic. And this week and the last 2 weeks, I think, 2 or maybe 3 weeks, we've been talking about Dapper. So the very first week we went to Dapr.io and we literally tried to figure out what this tagline means. Event driven portable runtime for building microservices on cloud and edge. I think between this and reading deeper into some docs, I think we got a pretty decent idea. But then last week we actually went in and like read and ran some code. Um, and so we actually went to this getting started, and I'll open that in a new tab. And we went all the way down to here. Is there another step after this? Oh yeah, we got to
I think we
here.
got to step 4.
Oh no, because we did curls to make sure that it would write and read to the storage. Remember that?
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we ran a Node app. We got to here where we made sure the Node app was storing stuff via Dapper's storage driver. But we also failed to run it too. Like we tried it the first time and we took out a flag, which we'll show, and it didn't run properly, and then everything blew up. But then we put the flag back in and did it like we did what they told us to do, and then it ran okay. So I think today, Jennifer, you said you wanted to go and like figure out why. Should we do that?
Yeah, because I feel like this is one of the things is like to understand how the piece works. Like we think about this Dapper piece as the sidecar, and like here we added this code, and looking at the code, it wasn't clear to me like why we needed to specify this port. I mean, they
Yeah.
say it's optional too,
Yeah.
but then that to me is kind of like the wiring. How do these things connect together?
Yeah, and you know, you said the sidecar. Like I had been assuming that you run Dapper as a sidecar as well. So I thought about it and I was like, if it's a sidecar, then why do you run it with the Dapper CLI? So I'm wondering if this is just kind of a development tool. Like you can do Dapper run and then it'll run your Node app under the hood just by doing regular old Node, but it'll also like figure out to how to proxy a port somehow. So yeah,
That's what I would that like that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like in my head, I'm assuming that's what's happening, but I want to know that's really what's happening.
yeah, okay, all right. So let's go into the code and have diffs open for some reason. Have a Python file open. I'm gonna close that. The other part of this app is Python. And oh yeah, Jennifer, you have write access now to my VS Code live share. So I think you should drive just to show off how cool this thing is. That's Jennifer. I'm not typing. Type again, Jennifer. My hands are up here. It's really Jennifer.
I almost totally did like I almost put like a a syntax error in
Oh,
there.
nice. Yeah,
Awesome.
the quote.
And what's
Yeah.
cool is when I do this, does it scroll for you? Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, you
Okay,
have your own
so if I
history
do la la la.
there.
Oh, okay. So just so folks know, this is my first experience with the write mode of VS Live Share. And I know, like, I've read a lot of stuff around how you can have different. Oh, I wish we could share like two screens at the same time. So my VS Code, I've got a theme, and so I've got white background. I don't remember which one this is, but it's like with purple accents. But like I
Nice.
know that they're separate views. So I like scrolled down and I thought, oh, it'll make your scroll down too, but it doesn't.
Hmm.
But if I start now I'm curious. I've totally side railed here. La la la. Does it jump down if
If
I
I know that it follows you to different files. Oops. If I click here, it'll go to you. But if you move up in this file outside of my viewport, I won't follow you. But try going to a different file. I think it should follow you to a new file.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah. So
Cool. So you have to follow for it to like you have to click on that sort of follow thing in order for it to follow.
yeah, these little
Cool.
people. So I think I just like I follow your cursor. Yeah, okay. Let me close my terminal so we can see more code. So we've got, this is what we were looking for before. Dapper port right there.
Yeah, so this is why I'm a little confused. One, I haven't done this particular done JavaScript, but it's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're defining the Dapper part is what I'm assuming it's saying. This is the environment process Dapper HTTP port. So I assumed that if you run it without specifying the ports, it will hand over the environment port, or it will hard code it to 3500.
Yeah, that's my assumption too. And what I also think is that if you whatever you do, if you say a Dapper port in the environment variable or it just falls back, this is the port that the Dapper sidecar is going to be running on. So you can, in your code, you can access this port to get to the Dapper services, like in this case, the state storage service. But
So is it not setting that environment variable if we don't specify it's at the command line? Like that's the only thing I can think of is like what happens.
so let's see what they say though. So they say they have app port, and that is set to 3000 here, and then back over here, hard coded. So I'm guessing we definitely need that. But then this thing, we should, I think what we should do is we should print out the value of this environment variable and then run the command with different ports and just see if it changes. That'll tell us, like, does this right here set the environment variable?
Cool.
All right. You want to do it or should I? This is just still so cool.
No, I'm letting you drive right now.
Okay. Let's do the fancy thing.
Oh, cool.
I just learned about this
Is
the other
that the
day.
is this the right quote?
Yeah, I learned about backticks.
Oh, because you're putting the variable in there. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm getting more JavaScripty every little bit, every couple weeks. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is. Okay.
It's delightful.
Yes. Okay. So we've got that. We're in the right folder. And now we're going to set port to 3501. So it should print out, well, we think it should print out 3501 here.
Okay, so pause for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're watching the stream and we're going too fast, or if we need to explain anything more, please let us know. I just want to take a moment to say, okay, this example, what we're doing is we're saying we're going to run Dapper run, and we're specifying the port, but we're changing it to 3501. And so if we specify the port, does it then hand over the environment variable?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say yes.
Yeah, we hope so, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, are we sure this does like I don't know what this or really means. Like, does it mean if this is nothing, then it'll fall back, or is it like
If it doesn't exist.
doesn't exist? Okay.
If it doesn't exist, because this is JavaScript, right? Like if it exists and it's some Like, isn't this the difference between null and doesn't exist in
Ooh, you got
JavaScript? I'm like, I haven't done JavaScript since Yahoo.
yeah.
That's many years now.
Oh, well, we could probably find out that too because we could log Dapper port right below this and see what it turns out to be.
Oh, that's a good, yeah, yeah, we should totally do that too.
Okay.
That will help us. That is just as important. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We can
So
confirm what we think. It's all you.
doot. Oh, I do not like pop-ups. What? Okay, so I'm gonna steal this. Oh. It's like everything is popping up like in VS Code. Um, so that so copy paste is a little weird.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
and so like yay, yay.
Let's set this one to Dapper port also.
Which one?
Let's set.
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did. Oh, wow. There was some lag there. That's weird.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It, it's you know what? It's probably streaming
Hmm.
as well as doing the live share at the same time.
Oh,
Because I can
huh.
definitely hear my machine going churn, churn, churn. And so like think of all that network
Yeah,
latency.
yeah.
Like
It could be on
so,
my side too, because I've got you on Skype coming in, and then I've got the stream going out and this live share connection. So lots of networking.
cool. Okay.
So what do we think this should? What do we think this is gonna print out?
Uh 3501 like Dapper port is 3501 and Dapper port is 3501.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Yes. Okay, let's try it. Let's just try it. I'm gonna go up to the
Here.
top. Okay, this is from Dapper. These are all Dapper logs. Node app listening on port 3000. Dapper logs, Dapper logs. Does it not print this out? Oh, it doesn't print it out. Wow.
Wait. It's gotta be there.
Let me search for this.
Is there a log somewhere?
Nope. Um,
Eric is here. He can tell us where are we missing. Oh, I see problems.
oh, Eric says the double bar just short circuits. So as long as Dapper HTTP port is truthy, it'll use it. Okay, that that makes sense. Okay, so okay.
Uh, So, do you get the same problems on yours? Like, it shows me problems. It looks like it's trying to spell check.
No. Oh, yeah, I see some spell checking here.
Is that is that
It's one of my
interesting? Okay.
it's which plugin is this? It's one of the Markdown extensions, I think, and I didn't turn it off. Well, I guess I didn't restrict it to just Markdown files, which was not obviously a great move.
Um,
I got to do that later.
so Eric, the issue is we've got this console log. We basically have some print statements and they're not printing out. You know what? Let's just what if we
Oh, my bad.
are we it's running, right? Like at the
Mm-hmm.
let's do the check.
So I'm gonna go back
Like the
here.
curl.
And where's their curl? They have a Dapper Invoke. let's not do this fancy curl. Let's just do the basic one.
Or the Dapper Invoke would be fine, or whatever.
You think?
Yeah,
All
we
right.
don't have any orders, right?
No. Okay, so this should be doing the invoke on whatever port Dapper is listening on, I think. Let's try it. Okay. That worked.
Oh,
So let's do
so
a
where did, okay, so I'm looking at the app post new order code and it says console log got a new order, order ID. Where did that go in the console?
here we go.
Okay, so I'm just going to be annoying here. Since I know that works. I'm just going to because it shouldn't matter, right? But
Yeah, I don't think so, but you never know.
okay.
Let's get rid of that. All right, try running it again.
Yeah. What did you get rid of?
There was a squiggly. Whoops.
Oh.
One of these little things.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to shut this down. We're going to try it again on 3501. Okay, it should be before that log line because that log line comes down here at the bottom.
Oh.
We might need to put these log lines in that callback.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Let's try that. Let's do one of these. Oh, you want to do it?
Nope, you can do it.
Okay.
I'm
Oh, here I have
the lag is a little bit much with the copy paste.
Yeah. Okay, how do I unfollow you?
I think if you just click if you just start doing something.
Oh, okay. Nope. I don't think so because it keeps popping back up to you.
Oh, weird. I didn't move.
Seems like it's calmed down now.
Okay.
So I'm going to take these all 3 logs and I'm going to put them over here. So weird. It keeps... Do you see that on your side?
No, I'm actually like down where you are at.
Oh, weird. When I copy something in, it just pops up to like here. And then I just scroll back down and it's all back to normal.
Yeah, so when I was copying, it was doing some weird stuff. It wasn't popping me up, but it was definitely weird.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to try this again. We should see those logs now.
And get rid of the constant.
Yeah, we got to put that back at the top, I think. Right before state URL. Yeah, it did it again. It just loves this handler. Every time I do pretty much anything, it goes to that handler.
I'm gonna. How do I make it so I'm not? Can you make it so you're not live sharing? Because then we can just focus on. We can do the live share later. Because I like it. It's definitely a little. It's a little distracting.
Okay.
I'm like, it's okay. You can. You can do the typing.
Okay. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I just did the stop collab session.
Awesome.
Okay, so we got these logs here, and we're gonna run it, and hopefully, wow, it doesn't. Whoops.
Wait.
Node app listening on port 3000. Nothing much before that. That's the app log there. Wow, that's so weird. But you know what we can be sure of is that this URL is right. And since we were able to submit that command to store something, we know that this URL has the correct port. So that's good.
So okay, so it does set, so then we can say that it is setting it if we specify port. So like what happens if you don't specify port at the command line?
Let's try that.
That's where if we could print out the what it thinks the value is, it would be super useful.
So Eric says, what do you have your debug environment variable set to? Good question. I'm going to shut this down. We'll do what he said. I don't know what that means in node land, but I'll try it. That's what Eric put in the chat. So we'll see what that is. And he said remove port. Oh, debug star. So that's not a node thing then. And we're going to try it without port. And let's see what happens. Wow, what is... We get all of this great express debug logging, but we don't get our own logging. Okay. Anyway, let's try doing our Dapper Invoke command again to see what happens. And you know, we'll also be able to tell what the port is later on, because when we do a curl, we have to specify the Dapper port. So that'll be good to know.
Okay. Okay. Can we scroll up in the output to the top? Right there, that port. If we can copy that port and like just hold on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not do anything, but yeah, let's do the invoke now.
Okay, so that's a thing. Let's go try that curl. Get the thing back. So this is the one to grab to successfully, to see if it's from, or to see if it's in the state store. It says be sure to reflect the right port. So that's what the copied one that you were talking about.
No. That's 3500, right? Or wait.
Yeah. So they're saying be sure to reflect the right port. So we have to take this out and put the crazy one that Dapper generated in here. Right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because 3000 is the app, 3500 is Dapper.
Mm-hmm. It worked. Cool.
Oh, wait. Did it not work for us last week?
Yeah, last week, remember, we didn't put it, or we didn't pass a -- port flag, but we left this as it was.
Oh, I thought what failed was the invoke part.
I don't remember invoke failing for us.
Oh, okay. So this totally makes sense then.
Wait. Invoke did fail, and that was because I remember we took out both port flags.
Did we?
Mm-hmm. We took app port and port. Because I remember we were both like, Let's just go with the defaults. We don't need to. We don't want to have to like pass those in. Which almost we were almost there.
Okay, so what is different about hmm, when you specify the port at the CLI, what is it doing there?
In the Dapper run is what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay, let's go back up to it. So we've got our Dapper run. We've got app port. This one, I'm pretty sure you have to specify, at least for this code base, because we're hard coding it in the app.js.
Yeah, cool. Okay, now I understand. So I totally I was thinking let's not specify the Dapper port, and then I
Hmm.
was very confused why how is it not optional? But it's actually we didn't specify the app ports.
Yeah, because we were like we want to have them all be optional, and I think the documentation says somewhere, or maybe it's in the Dapper CLI. It says that those are optional. Yeah, the app
It's
port is configurable. Oh, and it's saying the port parameter is optional, not
that
app port.
yeah, not app port,
Okay.
which yeah, like I feel like I want to just be like little documentation update here.
Yeah, we probably should do that. So maybe another docs update is to really be explicit and say this Dapper run is both the thing that runs the Node app behind the scenes for you. So basically it just does like a fork exec and calls this. But also it runs the sidecar, and then the sidecar is the proxy. So we're kind of exercising, like, before we even run this code, we're setting up a service that we can then call Dapper Invoke. And Dapper Invoke is using Dapper's service to service RPC thing to let us invoke a endpoint on our app.
Do you want to like go ahead and just open an issue right now
Yeah,
while we're talking about it,
let's
so we
do
can just
that for
so we
sure.
can be all awesome here?
Bug report. I'm going to find that issue. So it's under step 3. Let's see. We want to clarify port. Clarify which port flags can be optional and which can't. So this isn't really a bug. I'm just going to write the closest thing I can in here. So under
Yeah, I
step
think that's a good
3,
idea.
what is this? So step 3 of the hello world sample. There is a section that, what does it say? That says app port is, just put the whole thing. So what is the problem really? This is easy to misread.
It's easy to misread. So like, what if we just in the instead of doing expected behavior, actual behavior, what if we just write a suggested thing here,
Okay.
and they can modify it as they want?
Yeah.
So, well, we could say like we should say what happened here. It's easy to misread what is optional, or misunderstand port the port parameters,
Yeah.
uh,
Let's see. Do
and
they,
then
I think it
fail at
would
later steps.
probably, so, okay, before that section, they're just going over the code. This is the first time right here that they talk about the Dapper CLI.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like right before here, maybe it should say this port flag is for this thing and this port flag is for that. So just to be more explicit.
Yeah, and say like, you know what, where is this? Uh I like go back, I keep going back and forth between, oh, that closed. Okay. So in the code for the sample itself, they could show in that first in step 2 where it says here's this Dapr port and these pieces slightly up higher.
Here?
Yeah, here where it's saying like this is like they could just say right here this is hard coded when you use the Dapper CLI, and explain this a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Okay. So this is the first, let's see. So this section is right after the first time you see the Dapper CLI. And we think Jennifer, what is your GitHub handle again? It starts with an I.
IENNAE.
Oh, it didn't autocomplete you? Bummer.
Maybe I need to do something in the Dapper side and it'll complete
yeah.
there.
Well, maybe this will get you in there, the GitHub autocomplete for Dapper system or whatever it is. Okay, so we got confused by the two different port flags. So we have two ideas on how, let's see, how this could be made more clear. So the first one is up above.
So up above where, like in the code itself, they also, I'm just going to paste this in the chat.
Sure.
They add the constant port equals 3000 in this step 2 and that section, and just like make it really clear, like like the words I would say is, so it's when we use the Dapper CLI, it creates the environment variable for the Dapper ports, and then put the variable name there in this text. Now I wish I had live share because I would totally just I would type this.
Well, here, let me type something and see what you think.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm going to say we got confused by how the port flags corresponds to the ports in code. So we have two ideas on how this might be made more clear. First, in the understand the code. In the understand the code section, it might be useful to add the const port equals 3000 line and explain that, explain how that line corresponds to the app port flag and the, what is it called, Dapper port. Okay, what do you think of that?
Yeah, and say, like, and call out that it's hard coded, like that the app port is hard coded, so not optional.
Okay. It corresponds to the app port flag, and since it's actually, let's call out that it's hard coded down here to say you shouldn't change this.
I think in both places, because like I think you're looking at the port itself, in the code in the top one, well, like right now it doesn't show it, but the difference in the way that it's defined, Dapr port is equal to process M Dapr HTTP port that's passed
Oh, I
in.
see. Okay.
So that's like why it's optional.
Mm.
It's like now that we're looking at the code, I'm like, oh yes, of course, that's
Mm.
optional. The other one is not because it's like defined right there in the code. It's
Yeah.
like set.
Okay. So might be useful to add the line, explain how it corresponds to that. So explain how it corresponds to the app port flag, and explain that since this line is hard coded, the app port flag must be passed. In contrast, explain how since the Dapr port flag checks that is what makes the port flag optional. That's a lot, but what do you think?
Hold on. I'm
Yeah.
making sure we can get them backwards. Okay, yes. Yes.
So that's one thing. Didn't we have something else? What is it? It was down here somewhere.
Oh shit. You know why? Okay, this is what's so confusing. At the command line, app port, the flag is app port is 3000, and in the code, port is 3000, and at the
Oh.
command line, it's port.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you see?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
So coming over here, they say port. Really, this should be app port. Well, that's even weirder, right? Because this should be port.
So they might want to just change the name of the, like, yeah, because that just adds a little confusion there.
Port and that, yeah. That'd be a little thing that makes a big difference, huh?
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe, like, I don't know. I'd have to go back to look at our stream last week to see what we were thinking. I don't know.
I I bet we messed I bet we messed this up. That sounds just about right. Because we were like, oh, dash dash port. That must be the app port. Because it's port.
Okay, so there was one other thing, and that was in step 3. Be clear about the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe separate out these two notes, because it's saying the app port is configurable.
Yeah. This might
And
be.
it talks about,
Go ahead. My bad.
yeah, so like separate out the app port and the port parameter discussions, because it starts like the whole optional part.
Maybe we should just say, by the way, app port corresponds back to this and this variable in the code. Therefore, since the variable is hard coded, you have to pass this flag, and then do a similar thing for the port parameter.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So before I forget, not two ideas. In the note in section 3, list out the two flags, remind which variables the flags correspond to, And also note whether each flag is optional or not.
Awesome.
So let me delete all this stuff and do one of these. Just make sure this looks okay. Under step 3, there's a section that says that. The section is right after you see the first Dapper CLI command. We got confused by how the flags correspond to the code. We have a few ideas. So add the const to the first code sample, explain it. Also explain the Dapper port thing, the variable with the environment variable and the hard-coded thing. Change the variable names, and then finally list the flags and then remind which variables the flags correspond to.
Do we want to be clear to say change the Dapper port and port variable names in the Node app?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, looks good to me. What do you think?
I think it looks great.
Alrighty. Submit. This is the first Dapper issue that has ever been submitted on what is it called again? CNW? No. CNW?
CNU.
CNU. Yeah. Yeah.
CNU Wednesdays.
CNU Wednesdays. The first Dapper issue submitted on CNU Wednesdays. You saw it here first, folks. All right. So back to here. So last week we got it running when we just went back and gave up and went back to all of the defaults in the docs. We got it running. So going back to the getting started, and we did this today too. So we wrote a order ID into the Dapper storage, and then we didn't do the curl equivalent. We didn't try Postman or the REST client plugin yet. We also then went down to here and made sure it exists. So we made sure that the order actually got in. And we also, I remember this, we also took a little bit of time to see whether you can have multiple orders or you just have one forever and then they just get overwritten every time. So we figured out that when you submit a new order, the old one just gets erased. And I remember looking in the code into
the key stuff. I think that was our feels about like the key configuration for the state store.
Yeah. Because this is the structure of the state store here. It's a list of key value pairs. And so this endpoint is the thing that's creating a new order. And when it writes the data into the Dapper storage, it's just writing, here's the new data for this key, for the order key. And that we actually tested this out. Remember, we tested and we were like, okay, does the storage like store multiple values if you write a new order data in? And it didn't. Those were the feels that I had, at least.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, in what case would you use this? Yeah. So the other thing that I was curious about is if we just modify this key, can you just like add like some kind of random, like a randomizer thing that will just, is there something, I don't know, like add some,
oh no,
like, you know, add time. It's like it's the end of the key.
How do you do time? Do you know off the top of your head how you do time in Node?
No, it's been forever. Time JavaScript.
Oh, JavaScript has time. I forgot about that. I thought it was a Node thing. This is going to be libraries for JavaScript time, I think. Yeah.
You just need a date.
Yeah, it's easier said than
Just
done.
milliseconds.
JavaScript, date, object.
Uh, what about plus now?
Is there a now?
Yeah,
Like this? For reals?
yeah, I think
Cool.
so.
Okay. So, oh, you know what? When we do the get, it's not going to get anything though.
Uh,
Because
w-
it's going to get that.
oh, so how can we explore how do we explore the state store? How do we list everything?
Let's look in the docs. 'Cause I feel like we should be able to list everything. Yeah. Let's look in the docs. Dapper,
Oh,
state.
I just want to like curl right now. Grab your keyboard.
Oh, no, you're right. What would we do? We would just do
Like,
slash state store and then not do a slash order maybe.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Will it like
Okay.
show us all the keys at least?
So it's
Like, because
still
we can do
running.
that now.
Yeah. Um, oh, we want this, but then we want slash state slash state store, and that should be hopefully it. We get nothing.
Mm. Oh, oh,
So
wait.
that was the one we put in.
Huh.
I'm gonna look at the API docs for like the REST API docs, and
I have a hard stop.
oh, okay,
So I so want to do
that's
this.
cool. Do you mind if I stay on and keep
Oh
trying it out?
no, that's totally fine.
Okay,
That's totally fine.
I'll report
Uh,
my findings to you.
yeah,
Cool.
this has been awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you so much, everybody. And thank you, Aaron.
thank you.
I will see you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jennifer. See you next week.
See ya.
Okay. So is Jennifer still? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so we're trying to figure out if we can see all the keys in the state store. And I think we have to go check out the Dapper API docs for that. And I know there's somewhere. I know there's somewhere. We're probably here in the reference and then under API. State API, that's what we were looking for. So I'm wondering if maybe there is no way to get all the keys. And I'm wondering that because the state store has various different implementations that don't allow you to list all the keys. So I'm hoping that we'll have something in here, but I'm not 100% optimistic about it. So we've got to save, a get a specific key, a delete, actor support, and then all the different underlying properties like consistency. Yeah. So we don't have that way to do things. But I still want to figure out if we can have it actually store multiple orders. That would be nice. Because this isn't very useful as a system that can only hold one order. Unless we're selling something that costs like $50 million, probably want to have some concurrency in the orders. So I'm going to try this. First of all, I want an endpoint really that gives you orders I want like the list of orders for starters. Then when we do new order, what I'm thinking is we have a key called orders, plural. So, and then at that point, then basically I'm thinking, I guess I have two thoughts. I think there's maybe a naive implementation and then a super fancy one. So naive is basically store a key in here called orders and then make this a list. So that's one way. And then the other way I was thinking is do like an append. So with these primitives, with like the primitives of this key value storage system, doing an append would mean I've got to look up a key and then I've got to add a new key after it. So it's kind of like a linked list if you're familiar with it. So that in here would just kind of look like orders, and that would point to order 1 and then blah. That would point to order 2 and then blah, and then on down the line. So I don't think I'm going to do that because that's going to add some overhead complexity. That this would probably be like a little bit more efficient, maybe. But I don't really care about being super efficient at the moment. I kind of do. I kind of am really tempted to do this. But I think I want to get something working first. So here's what I think I have to do. I've got to do a... So I've got to fetch the orders first so that I can get the list, the current list, and then add to the list. So we're going to do a fetch state URL plus orders. And that's going to have a method equals get. I think method equals get is implied. Yeah, that's all they have to do. So we've got that. And I'm going to copy the code from up here. So they do a response and then they encode it to text. We're going to want to do JSON. It's going to be up here. So they take in the response in the promise callback. If it's wrong, then they can't get the state. They throw it. We're going to decode it into JSON. And then at that point, we've got JSON. So this thing is, I'm going to rename it response JSON. All right, so we've got response JSON, and I believe that is going to have the key and the value in it. I think we're going to just go on that assumption for now, and just try to get out that list. Wait, actually, I think we have what that JSON looks like already. Yeah, right here. So it really doesn't have the key. It doesn't have orders. Well, I guess this key would have been order. So it doesn't have order in here. It just has what is the value of order. That makes sense because we already passed the key up. So we wouldn't really need it to be told back to us. Okay. Yes. So this is then going to have a list in it. Because we're putting in the key called orders. And then the data of the key is a list. So we're going to do const a list. Let's call this something better. List of order IDs equals, basically that's just going to be the JSON. I think that'll work. We'll see though. So now we've got an order ID here. And basically, I just want to add the order ID onto the end of the list. So we're gonna do list of order IDs dot push. Is push? No, is it append? I can never remember which one it is, so I gotta go look it up. So JavaScript array append. There's push and there's append and blah blah. All right, Stack Overflow saves the day. We've got dot push. Cool. I just love how I just always, I think many of us do this. I just always pretty much look at the first entry in Stack Overflow. Sometimes it's usually the checked one, but honestly, I'll be honest. Sometimes it's not the checked one, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, I really want to just go with that one. But I usually catch myself when I'm like, well, let's at least go to the checked one, the green one. And then I go there and I even more rarely catch myself then and say, oh, well, this one might not be right, so maybe I should go and look it up in a better place, a more definitive place. So this time though, DuckDuckGo basically gave me, I think this is just the first answer. I don't know for sure. I think this is the first answer in Stack Overflow, but I'm going to go with dot push because I've seen this before. So we've got dot push, and we're going to push on our order ID to the end of it. And now we basically can do our next fetch. So we're going to do our fetch to the state URL. We're going to post the state. All right, so we need to rebuild the state. Const state equals key is still going to be orders, and value is going to be list of order IDs. So the list goes in here, and later on when they call this the next time, the list comes out when we do this outer fetch. So this becomes a list of order IDs. The list comes out. We add an order ID to it here. We set up the key value pair that the state store is going to need us to give it. And then we send the key value pair to the state store. In theory, this will all work. So I think I'm going to have to switch around how delete works. But I think get might do it. I think get, we're all good on that. So instead of returning a key value pair in the actual response body, I think this should be returning just a list of order IDs. But let's see. Let's see. So I got to go restart my stuff. Dapper run. And let's go back to our port. Because this otherwise would generate a new port, and then I have to copy and paste that into my other curl commands, which I don't really want to do. So we're going to just go with hard-coded port 3500 for the Dapper port. And then obviously we have to stick with our hard-coded 3000 for our Express Node.js port. So when we run this, and now we're going to go back over here. And so first of all, I'm actually just going to try querying the state store. So it should have nothing in it at this point. Oh, and that's because I did the wrong port. 3500. So, okay, I think this will have nothing in it. Okay, nothing in it. Cool. Now I'm going to go back to the documentation and I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to add an order to the list of orders. We're going to have to modify our Dapper Invoke command to do that though. So up here, Dapper Invoke, we're going to be calling the new order method. We'll call it an endpoint. It's the service RPC endpoint. So we're going to be calling new order still, because in our code down here, it's still the new order endpoint. But then the payload is, instead of having order ID is 41, we're going to just have 41. And we're still going to have a data key. But inside, like, this is the thing that we're going to want to put in the state store. And we don't want to put this key value pair inside of the value for the key orders. We just want the number. So I'm going to do this. Actually, I'll copy everything up to here. Oop, not in that window. That window. So payload is data. And then we're just going to do 41. And we're going to close the bracket. And we're going to close the single quote. So let's see if this works. Okay, it worked. Cool. Now let's do 2. Let's do 42. So now we should have 2 orders in the list. Now let's try to read them back out and see if that worked. So what we're going to want to do here is, instead of invoking the /order endpoint, we changed it to /orders. So that's what we're going to want to invoke. So basically, I'm going to do this curl command, but I'm just going to put an S on the very end, right after the R in order. And yeah, we can keep our 3500 this time, because when we ran the app, we ran it with -- port equals 3500. So let's go do that. And we're going to add that S on the end, and let's cross our fingers. Oh, that didn't work. So it looks like the endpoint isn't even there. So why is that? Did we forget to change something maybe? Huh. It is there. I wonder if it is complaining about the state store. Can I get /orders? That's interesting. So I'm going to try to isolate that issue. Instead of trying to get /orders in the state store, I'm going to just make this app.get and this /orders path. I'm just going to make it return some random text. Because if it still fails, then I'll know that there's something wrong with this, the actual app.get. But if it succeeds, then I'm going to know there's something up with this fetch. That's what I mean by isolating. So we're going to just do res.send hello orders. And then we'll restart our app. And we will rerun just that one. Yeah, so it's not working for us. /orders. So that means that this app.get is the one that's failing on us, which is a bummer. So let's see what's up. So there is a, where was it? There is something in here, I believe, that specifies the endpoints. And I thought that they were in the JavaScript, but I guess that they might not be just in here. So I'm going to actually go do a little bit of reading and figure out why this endpoint is not available via curl. Well, actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to try using Dapper, the Dapper Invoke command, to invoke this method. Confirm successful persistence. They're doing a curl with that. So I'm going to go and copy the Dapper Invoke syntax. But instead of doing dash dash method equals new order, I'm going to do dash dash method is orders. And we're going to see if that works. And if it doesn't work, at least, I think at least we might get a better error message. Well, I don't think so. I hope so. I'll put it that way. So let's copy this in, and then we're going to do method is orders. Oh, it gets, I cannot post. Okay, so we don't want to post. We want to do a get. So, all right, let's figure out if we can get Dapper Invoke to do a get. We're going to just do a little help dialog here. Dash M is how to specify the method to invoke. Okay. So we'll just do that. Oh, wow. It still tries to do a post, huh? Oh, it's using method as the actual service endpoint method, not the HTTP method. All right. So I think Dapper Invoke then might not be the right tool for us, just because it looks like the only place in this guide it's being used is to do a post up to this new order endpoint. So let's go back, and I'm going to go open up a new tab, and I'm going to head back up to the samples. And let's see. I think the thing that I really want to do is figure out how do these service endpoints work. So we're going to go out to Dapper, the Dapper organization in GitHub. I'm going to head over to docs. And we're going to head over to concepts. I think it's in concepts. Service invocation. That's what I'm looking for. So this is just generally speaking how service invocation works at a high level. So it's, you've got your app code over here. This is one microservice. You've got your other microservice here, and you can talk between them through Dapr. You don't have to talk directly from one to another. So that's what we're doing here. I mentioned it earlier when we were when it was me and Jennifer on the stream, and I was saying when you do a Dapper Invoke like this, this is actually using service invocation under the covers. So this is actually like simulating me on the command line being one microservice, and this is calling through Dapr to get to my node microservice. And when we did the curl also, you notice that when we did the curl back here, I wasn't calling port 3000. I was calling the Dapr port 3500. And so again, that's me, my quote microservice. It's the Aaron microservice. I am requesting the node microservice through Dapr, not directly. So now that I get it, I sort of get how this works. I'm going to go open up two tabs. I'm going to look at how to get started and the API spec. So the first one, how to get started, I just want to skim it and see if there's any way to tell, basically if there's any way to tell how these endpoints work. So this is saying it exposes an add method via the /add endpoint. Okay. And they're doing this whole thing basically the same as I thought. Invoke /cart /method /add. Okay. I want to make sure that my route, my curl path is the same as this. So /invoke /the service name /method and then the endpoint name. So we've got localhost blah 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 1.0 invoke, and then /my service name /method /orders. Okay, cool. So maybe I am doing something weird here. Not sure. But that's why I was going to go look into the API, and maybe there's some detail I missed here. I bet that's what it is. It's like I missed some detail. So we've got, this is what I expected. We've got our get, and then we've got localhost, and then the port. So that's 3500. We've got version 1. We always say invoke, and then the app ID. So for me, that's Node app. We named it Node app for lack of more creativity on my part. And then I've got a method / method, and then I have the actual method name. So down here, it's got URL parameters, a port, an app ID. Those are what we already knew. Request received by invoked service. I wonder if we need this. I'm not sure because we didn't have this before. But you know what? For posterity, I'm going to put it. So it's using it here because this -d is making curl do a post, which is how add works in this example. When you do a post, passing up JSON, they're passing the header. Just to rule out this possible problem, I'm going to pass up the header when we do the get and see what happens. Let's make sure I have it running. Yeah, I've got it running. Okay, so got my curl here, and then I've got my header, and let's try it. Yeah, same thing. /orders, can't get it. Okay, back to the drawing board here. That's it. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to completely change this to something completely different, and then I'm going to restart the app. So something different. But let me restart the app now. And I'm going to go through and make sure that something different hopefully got registered. So we've got delete order ID, new order ID, our /new order, /order, but no, something different. So weird. So weird. Did I mess something up with the syntax, maybe? Huh. Wow. Let me comment the whole thing out, because I might have messed something up with syntax here. Oh, you know what? Actually, before I do that, I'm going to bypass Dapr. This is another thing that I want to do to isolate. I'm going to bypass Dapr and literally try to call directly on port 3000. I want to try to call / something different. Oh, wait. I see something else that I did too. When me and Jennifer, wow, this is something, this is like the path says, something different. This is a different problem. When me and Jennifer were trying to figure out the ports, we changed them to be consistent with the command line flags. So we have app port and we have port. But the problem is twofold, actually. First of all, this is using a Dapper port environment, or a Dapper port JavaScript variable. And then Dapper port was supposed to rely on the environment variable. And then it was supposed to fall back to port 3500 if there was no environment variable. So we renamed all of this to port. And so that does fit with the command line flags, but it doesn't fit with our current code. So I'm going to change this back to Dapper port for now. And this one also, see how it says it's declared but never read? It's because this used to be port. And then if we go down here, this was using port and not app port. So to get this working again, I'm going to revert back to using the variable name port. And later on, we'll change everything wholesale. We'll change this hello world sample and the docs over to using port and app port like the code was here. So we're going to go change this to port. And now I'm going to rerun it, and now I'm going to try my something different route. So let's run it, and let's go back over to our curl, and let's do something different. Oh boy, still. I'm going to do that one where I go to 3,500. I mean, sorry, 3,000. And this is, of course, calling the node app directly. So there is no Dapper service invocation endpoint syntax here. So that means there's no /v1 / methods / so on and so forth. So there is, so this means there's something wrong with the node app, because Dapper's not even in play right now. Just to make sure about that, I'm going to close this down, and I'm going to just do node app.js. So this is going to run it, and literally now there's just no Dapper involved whatsoever. So when I run this, I'm looking at the debug output here as the first thing. So we've got our node app.js, some express internal stuff. Then we've got some routes. So we've got /order /new order. There's still a /order endpoint. What am I doing wrong here? Am I editing the right file? I'm not editing the right file. Wow. What file am I editing? This is so weird. Copy path. Dapper samples. Oh, wow. I think I have this checked out in 2 different places. Oh, wow. Sorry, folks. That's crazy. So what I'm going to do, this is funny. What I'm going to do is copy this code, and I'm going to open up a new terminal. And I'm going to go over to this. So this is where I had the code actually checked out, and that's so crazy. So we're going to just double check. So now we're in the folder that I think we're in the folder that corresponds to this app.js. So now I'm going to just double check by catting out the contents of it. And I'm going to head up and just make sure that we have something different. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to do the node app.js. There's our something different. Just to triple check, I'm going to go back and try the something different endpoint. Got it. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to just keep sort of unraveling this debugging process by now running Dapr run. Do I still have it here? There we go. So now we've got our Dapr run. Now I'm going to head back over and do a curl for Dapr. Going to head up in my history here. So that's the node, the curl for node This is the curl for Dapper. So that worked. So, okay. Now what I'm going to want to do is I am going to change this something different back over to orders. And I'm going to uncomment my code. So now I'm going to be able to test the whole flow. My Dapper Invoke to create the new order in the list. And then I'm going to do my curl to try to get the list back. So hopefully this is going to work. We're going to see. So let me restart. I'm going to rerun the app. So this should now have our orders in there, our orders endpoint. And actually, since this is actually the first time we're running the app with the real code. This is funny. The real code that I had been editing the whole time. So I'll have to make sure on my computer that I don't have two things checked out. And of course, I'll push this code up to the GitHub repository. I'll mention that later. So got it running. We're going to go back over here, and I'm going to head back over to the getting started directions. Back to where we had that Dapper Invoke, which was right here. So that's going to give us a new order, but I had to change this around. So instead of data equaling this dictionary, again, this is just going to be data equals an integer. So let me just copy the whole thing, and then I'll change it around. So data equals 41, close the squiggly, and close the quote. Interesting. So we've got it to hang. So at least we have a new order being sent up. So I desperately want to figure this out, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait until next time. Somewhere in here, it doesn't look like there is like an endless loop or anything. My guess is it's in one of these fetches. There's something going on. So with that, I will be pushing this code up to a new repository. If you didn't know, there's a github.com/osscda/cloud native stream repository. And we mentioned this really briefly last week. Me and Jennifer mentioned this last week. That we keep some ideas for streams, for future streams in here. And we also keep agendas. You can see like there's an agenda for today. So if you have ideas for something that you want to talk about, you want us to talk about and you want to discuss actually in a stream, feel free, come over here, click new issue, write down what you want to talk about. Also, if you want a sort of sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about in a future stream, you can click on the issue for that stream. We'll be writing up an issue for next week in the next couple days, so you'll be able to see what we're going to be doing next week. So I will also be creating a repository called OSSCDA/Cloud Native Project. I think it might be Cloud Native Stream Project, something like that. You'll recognize it when you see it if you just go over to OSSCDA, scroll down the repositories. And we will be working on this project for probably a while. We're going to keep expanding it to use more and more of Dapr. We have barely scratched the surface of Dapr, but we're just getting our groove going. I feel like Jennifer and I really understand how this basic stuff is working, and we're gonna go from there. We're gonna try to just keep trucking through the getting started, and then we'll expand our app. So with that, I am gonna call it a day. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for hanging out in chat, and we've got some chat going on here. It's Jennifer. What's the thing that you did the change? So you can store multiple orders. Yeah, that was the goal. I'm not sure if I did it the best way possible, but we'll see next week. I'll show you what I did next week. And also you'll be able to obviously see it on GitHub. We can go over what was going on at the end of this stream figure out why it was freezing up or hanging in what looked like maybe an endless loop. Who knows? And then we'll go from there. So join me and Jennifer next week at 1:30 p.m. U.S. Pacific time. So it's the same time as we started today and every week. It is the same place. It's twitch.tv/ARSchless. It's, if you're watching this live, it's literally right where you are right now. And as always, all of the streams for Cloud Native Wednesdays, they are all on YouTube. You can find them by going to arschless.com/about. Scroll down a little bit to Cloud Native Wednesdays, and there's a link to YouTube right there. All right, all. Thanks again for coming, and I will see you, and Jennifer will also see you next week. Take care.